Moving on to our next guest, it is Brandon Boyd, who is a social media influencer. That's my title for Brandon Boyd, from here in the UK. And I've been chatting to Brandon about Love Island because, as I mentioned at the start of the episode, Love Island had its final episode of the current series on Monday and crowned the winners for staying in a villa and having sex for 8 weeks. I don't know if they did that. I don't know. I don't. Well, they're being watched on camera like all the time, so I doubt that happened. However, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about body image in relation to it, and if Love Island is truly representative of modern day society, such as LGBTQ people and different body types.
I think obviously Love Island's the best example, where they just put in people that, with the guys, they all pretty much look the same. They're all ripped, they're all like attractive guys, and the girls are all quite like slim, or some of them are curvy and stuff like that. And I think it does have a negative effect on people, for those people that already have mental health issues or issues with the way they look anyway. Because I'm not exactly skinny, but I'm in decent enough shape. But even me, like watching the program, it's sort of like it is nice to see people that are in shape and taking care of themselves. But then at the same time, it's like a false representation of just people in general. That's apparently how everyone looks, or apparently in order to be attractive, you need to look that way. So I think in terms of that, it's sort of, it is not the best of things to see. But I think the main reason most people have picked as well is probably because it's like entertainment, like it's entertaining. It is quite bad for people's well-being and stuff. And I've seen lots of tweets and posts and things about it saying, why don't they have like an LGBT Love Island? Why don't they have people in there like the 50-year-old bin man or the 25-year-old, I don't know, teacher or something, rather than just all these, this one's a gym, this one's an athlete, this one's a social media influencer, like have a variety of different people.
Do you think as well, just thinking about this and, thinking on, is it doing damage to people? But I mean, I guess, of course, is it the responsibility of the show creators, or is it just our responsibility as viewers that if we don't like it and if we think it could have a negative impact on us, simply don't watch it, I guess?
I think it's a mix of both. I think it's a mix of, they're obviously quite smart in the way that they approach the show, and it's sort of like, I know on this series, one of the girls that's gone in, she doesn't look like the rest of them. She's quite a curvy girl compared to the rest, and it's interesting. Her sister was on one of the talk shows, I think it was Lorraine or something, and she actually admitted that her sister never applied for the show. She was scouted. So I think for a lot of these people, they don't necessarily want to go into these shows. They don't necessarily want to be on them. They obviously want to have like a name for themselves or do something, but sometimes they are just handpicked for how they look. Obviously, it's all over social media. Obviously, people are going to be talking about it. And I think some people don't watch it because they don't want to have the fear of missing out on it and stuff. But just, I think it's just sort of, if people feel like they don't agree with the program or they don't agree with the people that are picked, then the easiest solution is don't watch it.
Which is exactly, speaking from a personal standpoint, that's exactly what I do. I purposely will not watch it because I just, just for I'm not saying others shouldn't watch it. If you're entertained by it and you like it, by all means, I'm not, who am I to say what you should and shouldn't watch? But for me personally, I think it's just looking after myself by not watching it, because even looking on Instagram, I mean, sometimes you can compare yourself to people like so much when you see the quote unquote perfect body or the perfect life, and it can affect you. So I think people are different. Some people are affected by it, other people just watch it and take it with a pinch of salt and it won't have any impact at all. So I think what I'd say to people is to just assess how you personally feel and what personally impacts you. I guess as well what I was thinking along the lines of, in terms of young people, I guess, like you were saying, there's a fear of missing out, and I think maybe for like younger people, like late teens, whatever it might be, there might be a fear of missing out because all their friends might be talking about it. So that's sort of where I'm thinking about, is there not more responsibility now on the show creators to think, well, some young people, it might not feel like a choice to watch it. It just seems like a necessity to be able to engage with other people of their age group, if that makes sense.
I think that was the perfect way in which I actually started watching it. It wasn't a sort of wanting to watch it because I wanted to. It was a matter of watching it because my friends had seen all the previous ones, and we just made it like a necessity, like a thing to just do. So in our student flat, like, they'd come round and we would literally spend every evening watching it. Obviously, I'm back home for the summer now, so I'm just watching it on my own. But we were just sitting there watching it for an hour and obviously discussing everything, making notes about it all. But I think for me, in terms of shows like reality shows, stuff like Love Island, stuff like that, I don't personally watch it because I enjoy it. I just like seeing the journey of the people. Obviously, they all pretty much basically look the same, and they've all got different jobs and stuff they want to go into. But I think for me, it's just sort of like with films, it's just seeing the initial people go in and how they initially perceived by the audience and the public, and then as you go on, seeing their true colours. I know one of the girls in there, when she first went in, everyone thought she was nasty. They thought she was like full of herself and stuff. And then as she's progressed through and made love and stuck up for herself, she's probably actually one of the favourites in there now.
Yeah. I guess the questions, I mean, like you said, like, one of the people was apparently like scouted to actually go in there in the first place. And I guess the question, I mean, this question's been going on ever since, like, I mean, reality TV started. You know, I remember this debate happening when, like, Big Brother was first on the screens about how much reality is it? You know, should it even be called reality TV? Because sometimes it's so constructed, and it's like when you watch I'm a Celebrity, it's like it's 24 hours in the day and they have to fit all of this into like an hour and a half, so you're barely seeing anything really when you consider the amount of time that they're in there.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why the show does so well, because obviously they are filming pretty much 24 hours every single day. I know I've seen a couple of interviews with like other islanders that were in there like previous years, and they were saying they don't usually have a day off, but there's usually a day where the cameras aren't on 24/7. It's sort of like, yeah, when they came out, they were like, that's the way that I actually am, and the way that they've perceived me on the show is completely different. And I think it's very, very clever, like you said, that they fit however many, like a whole day's worth of footage into an hour, putting the best bits, adding in the stories or any of the conflicts that they know people want to watch, and obviously leaving each episode on a cliffhanger, which makes you want to go for more. Like yesterday's episode, there was some massive argument between two of the people, and there might have been 95% of the time where they were just talking normally or where they were having fun, but because they had one little tiny argument, they've made that the focus point of the thing, and everyone dislikes one or the other people because of that little thing. But it's sort of like when they both come out and then they watch the edited version, they might go, actually, they've perceived me like this. I know I'm not like that.
Just think there's some people who have to literally go through all of this footage.
Yeah,
just
get it
trawling
up to the day
through.
After as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just trawling through all of this footage. It was God.
Half of it, they'd be like, nah, this is trash. Nah, it's trash. Oh, there's a fight. Yeah, we'll put that in.
Put that in. Yeah, look at that wine bottle's just gone straight across the villa. We'll have that. Just to bring more figures into it. For some reason, I've just gone on this figures and surveys mission. I don't know why, but here's some more figures for you. So basically, and there's quite a if I can find it, there's quite a worrying statistic here actually. 4,500 young people were surveyed by the Mental Health Foundation, and this isn't in direct relation to watching Love Island itself. This is more generally about body image, and 23% of those young people said that they'd had like suicidal thoughts and fears because of body image concerns. So we can sort of discuss this in a way that's not directly related to Love Island, but you know, it's quite worrying. And I guess it's the thing that I always think is, yes, we know about body image issues, we know that there's various health conditions in terms of body image, and we hear about it all the time, but it's sort of thinking, how do we, you know, what can we do about it, I guess is the question. And I'm really not sure what the answer to that question is, but it's clearly quite a big issue in terms of specifically young people.
I think being obviously a young person myself, or just about, it is something. Yeah, it is something we sort of think about. I personally think about it on like a daily basis, just like, what do people think about you? How are people perceiving you? Like, blah blah blah. And are you supposed to look a certain way and all of that? But I think in terms of that statistic, 23% of like 5,000 young people, that's like almost a third. I think it's just sort of like, it is quite worrying. And obviously I don't think that is what reality TV is supposed to do. I think that's just happens to be what reality TV is. It's usually the dating ones or the romance ones where obviously most of the people from those shows are scouted, or the people that are picked to, like, they have to fit like a specific sort of person profile. And I mean, even for me, it was sort of like one of my mates. There was a show on E4 a couple of months ago, and my friend applied, got on it, and he was on the show, and it was similar to like all the other different reality shows. And I spoke to him like when he came out, and I just said, like, what did you think about the whole experience? And he said it wasn't what I was thinking it to be, and obviously he understands why so many young people like have all these problems and mental health issues and stuff, and it's because of shows like that. And that's exactly what he was saying. It was because of shows like the one he was on that people are feeling like this. The shows are fine, they just need to have a varied amount of people on it, like different body types or different people from different backgrounds and stuff. And I think if they play the game right, and if they do listen to people, obviously it's not ideal. Obviously for them it probably wouldn't be ideal to have, like, I don't know, 15 different people from 15 different backgrounds or places or nationalities or genders or whatever, because it could get all confusing. But then at the same time, that's what the public want to see. They don't mind seeing what's on TV because it's there, but they would make certain changes, and they would probably get more viewers if they were to make those changes.
That's Brandon Boyd bringing us to the end of episode 29 of Being LGBTQ, and you can find Brandon on Twitter. Just search for Is That Brandon? That's right. Is That Brandon with 2 N's on the end. So I think Is That Brandon with 1 N was probably taken. So make sure that you do check out Brandon Boyd online.